Hello everybody, this is Billy from LM Cases, and today we're going to take a look at a fly pack project that we actually just finished up. So this is a retrofit flyback project. So we built this case originally for this customer in 2019, and after having it on the road for a year, they decided that they just wanted to make some changes, so they sent it back to us for some modification. So I just wanted to show just the basic features of the case and what we did as far as the modification goes. So a little bit about what this case will be used for in the field. This customer is primarily working with corporate clients, and this case is designed for corporate AV presentation. So the things that this case will do are basically just, what's on large format monitors, feeds from cameras, content for presentations, just, all things that people who are familiar with corporate video will encounter. So the system is driven with 2 iMacs and 2 MacBook Pros. So the iMacs are mounted on the right and left side of the case with a multi-view monitor in the center. So I have one of the iMacs off of the pole just because I want to show you just some features about that how that works. So this case is a bit tricky because so much of the componentry and integration is actually below this work surface. So at first glance, it looks very simple, but if you want to head over to our Instagram account, which is LM_cases, we have a little story that we were working on while we were building this that is called Fly Pack Retrofit. So you can see the work surface come together step by step. So originally, the work surface had 3 main I/O panels mounted at left, right, and center. The center I/O panel was a full rack space with the left and the right being half racks. So this half rack panel that you see right here is actually from the original design. And this panel on the right here is something that we actually modified. So we cut the work surface and made it wider to accommodate a full 19-inch panel, and then we built the new panels. So let's start with this panel just to show you how everything works. So this single Thunderbolt 3 cable connects to the iMac, and that connects it to a dock that's mounted below the surface. So the dock handles network, it handles a few video outputs, and just some general connectivity so that you can have one main cable that feeds multiple signals to the monitor, and it keeps the work surface looking nice and clean. So the only things that in theory hit the monitor, the MacBook, or excuse me, the iMac, are this Thunderbolt and its power cable. So the dock below the surface, these are 2 USBs that are outputted from the dock. This is USB-C, and then there's just an additional network port that actually hits the switch that I'll show you here in a bit. Courtesy Power has 2 AC outlets in addition to a USB-A and a USB-C, so you can charge peripheral devices, and just like Black Magic microconverters or your phone or an iPad or anything like that. One of the tricky things is that the commercially available USB-C outlets do not, or panel mount jacks are not Thunderbolt compatible. So in order to get around this, we have this little grommet here, and we actually tether a Thunderbolt cable in there, just so that that's just the cleanest way that we can come up with for passing a Thunderbolt cable through a rack panel. So the dock is an OWC dock, and some of the other componentry that's down there there's Asia or Aja, however you pronounce that, T-taps, which take a Thunderbolt signal and give you SDI and HDMI output. So those boxes are below and hard patched into the dock. So again, the USB 3.0, or excuse me, the Thunderbolt 3 cable right here will allow you to access all of that stuff without a bunch of cables coming up to the iMac. So the center portion, the center panel features 5 snap-in Edison outlets so that you can have larger plugs like things with an AC adapter on the end, or even larger entertainment grade power. So there are 4 USBs here. The iMac A is the USBs from the left-hand iMac, and then iMac B is the USBs from the right-hand iMac. which is nice. So if you need to get a dongle or anything like that, you don't have to plug it in directly to the computer. So Mac C and Mac D here are the docks for the laptops. Now, this is where this panel really comes in handy, because if you're running a MacBook Pro laptop, you can power it just with this USB cable right here, so you don't have to have the Mac power. And then you can also get more connectivity from the dock. So again, there's a T-tap down there for each Mac, and the dock is wired into network, so you can have hard network to your computer. You don't have to mess around with Wi-Fi. And then it also has just some additional video outputs. And in the center, we've got an HDMI for this multi-view monitor, which is a 32-inch LG monitor. So all you have to do is just plug a little HDMI patch cable in, and then that hits our ATEM that's in the work surface. So for this panel, this was one of the original panels, which we ended up changing some configurations mid-build. So because the panel was already built and cut, we just ended up passing a Thunderbolt cable through this USB jack, because the USB-C and USB-A punches are different. So just an additional HDMI, USB 3.0 network, and snap-in Edison. On the front of the work surface here, we've just got a ClearCom base station, so that when you're sitting and working, you can have access to all of that. And one of the cool things is this work surface is designed so that you can sit behind it. So if you want to pull this work surface out, you just have to pull this, and it'll go in place. Or it'll come out, and then all you have to do is just pull it, and it'll lock in place. So this is an extremely durable work surface. You can accommodate 4 people working on it comfortably. I don't know if the size really is translating on the video, but it's very durable, very strong. It locks in place. You know, you can move the whole case by that, so you can lean on it. You can put a lot of weight on it. It's very, very strong. So going around to the back of the case, let's take a look at these mounts. So these are Chief K2W mounts. That we sort of hot rod and modify to come up with our own mounting system. So here's the mount on the monitor, and this goes to a plasma cut steel adapter plate that attaches to this sliding mechanism right here that allows you to slide the monitor up and down on a pole. And if you want to adjust that, all you have to do is just grab a hold of this tech lock. I mean, I guess this is technically a nut, so you can just grab this and adjust it, and you can move the monitor up and down. So one of the things that the client asked for with this revision to the case is they wanted a smaller lid. The original design had these poles standing straight up, which generated a very big lid to accommodate it. So what we ended up doing was we put these little hinge segments in here with a little latch. Let me see if I can do this one-handed. So all you have to do is just undo the latch, and then this folds right down so that you can have a smaller lid. The multi-view monitor mounts in the same way. This is just another plasma cut piece of steel that's an interface adapter. You can tell why we need that, because the VESA mount pattern for the monitor is down here. And that makes it in a kind of an awkward mounting position. So this brings our center of gravity more towards the center, not just a clever name. So looking at the front of the case, when the iMacs are not mounted on the poles, they are transported in these custom CNC cut foam line compartments. So we've got the factory cover on the iMac still, just because it's new. But on the second compartment, we've got this piece of foam right here. Now this is a Class A cross-link foam, so you can have this touch the face of the monitor and it won't scratch it. The back here is contoured to the shape of the monitor, and then the mount actually is hanging in this separate compartment during transport. This compartment actually used to be drawers. So with putting the monitor there, we have these angled pieces of foam, so you can put the monitor in with the screen facing towards the back of the case, and you can just kind of strap it in with the mount just hanging out there. Our rack section down here is a 6-space rack section. This is original to the case. We've just got some standard stuff like an ATEM, an Image Pro, and some HyperDecks down there. Heavy duty drawer, 1/2-inch Baltic Birch, Accuride glides, Now, one of the mods that we did was the original I/O panel was a 2U panel, so we actually cut the side of the case open to make this a 3U. So some of the I/O that's listed here on the panel, a lot of this matches the same nomenclature as the ATEM. So the inputs and outputs are basically just from the ATEM and the HyperDex, with just different STI previews and multi-views coming from other various sources. There's an HDMI, there's a panel mount HDMI for the program output. There's our main network in, which is just our WAN. And then we added 2 XLRs just for the ATEM audio output. Now, one of the things that we did for this panel was, instead of using a traditional Hubble 5278 inlet, we punched it for a 5278 inlet, and then we made a little adapter plate to use a PowerCon. The customer requested PowerCon, but we left it in there so that if they changed their mind down the road and they wanted to use just a regular recessed male Hubble inlet, you have that. So we do build as much of the cabling for systems in-house as we can. So the PowerCon cable is built in-house. And then I just laid out some SDI cables here. All of our SDI cables are 12K compatible. They use Canary cable. And then everything is labeled at both ends. So one of the things that we do as an integrator, which I always say that LM is kind of an integrator's integrator, because generally we're the first stop before you get to an integrator that would be handling the final programming and install, is we do a lot of labeling, we do a lot of cable management, and a lot of cable building, because it's a lot easier for us to handle that at this stage in the build, because if we have to modify the design for any type of cable pathing or anything like that, it's easier to do it at our shop, because we're a wood shop, in addition to an electronics installer. So it's easier to modify the designs here with engineers in a CNC machine than maybe, say, at a production facility that is designed for system builds. So at the back here, we ran into a little bit of the challenge with this particular build, because it wouldn't fit the power conditioner that we had in there originally. So we ended up having to make a 5-way IEC snake to plug in all of the components. And again, in here, everything is labeled at both ends. All of the SDI cables are custom built to length, so that there isn't anything. There's enough play that if they want to move the componentry around, they can, but it's certainly not sloppy by any means. And here's our network switch. Again, all of our cables are built per order, and they all correspond to things in the rack. This little XLR whip that's coming out here are just the XLRs from the ClearCom. So again, this is our case. We really had a great time building this case. It took a long time, but I'm really proud of this case and the way that we took it apart and rebuilt it. If anyone has any questions, again, my name is Billy from the custom integration department here at LM. You can email me at billy@lmcases.com. You can call us at 800-874-8326. Or you can send us a direct message on any social media platform. It all goes to my email address. So again, thank you for stopping by. Really appreciate it, and we hope everybody stays safe. Thanks.